It is time to ask how we get to where we are, not only our lack of preparation for the virus, but how we end up with an economy where so many of our people are hurting at a time of massive income and wealth inequality. It is time to ask the question of where the power is in America.
Bernie walked into Sunday's Democratic debate with two big goals in mind. One, to improve his tumbling nomination chances, and two, to push Biden and the rest of the Democratic Party further left. I don't think he met either of those goals well.
You need to take on Wall Street, you need to take on the drug companies and the insurance companies and the fossil fuel industry. You don't take campaign contributions from them, you take them on and create an economy that works for all.
You want to do that? Do what I proposed over 30 years ago. Federally fund all elections. No private contributions in the election process. If you want to do that, join me.
Reporting leading up to the debate suggested that even though Sanders knew his chances of winning the Democratic nomination were slimmer, his goal was to use the debates to push Biden further left. Sanders even said as much in a fireside chat a day before the debate.
But I'm going to ask Joe Biden. I mean, Joe has been part of the establishment for a very long time. Joe, what role have you played in trying to make sure that we end this massive level of income and wealth inequality where 3 people own more wealth than the bottom half of America? Now, to me, that is obscene. Will you continue to support tens and tens of billions of dollars a year in tax breaks and subsidies for the fossil fuel industry when the scientists are telling us that it is fossil fuel which is destroying, through climate change, our country and the entire world?
But if his goal was to win the nomination, then the objective for the debate should have been to display his forward-thinking and consistency on the issues while exposing Biden's inconsistency. Bernie's biggest missed opportunity might have been when CNN tried to make Joe Biden's committal to a female vice president into a big news moment.
If I'm elected president, my cabinet, my administration will look like the country. And I commit that I will, in fact, I'll pick a woman to be vice president.
Just to be clear, you just committed here tonight that your running mate, if you get the nomination, will be a woman?
Yes.
Okay, let me...
Senator Sanders, will you
right
make that
now, may I just respond and ask Joe a question? Right now, a woman's right to control her own body is under massive assault, unprecedented assault.
It is.
Joe, you have in the past, on more than one occasion, voted for the Hyde Amendment, which says that a woman, low-income woman, could not use Medicaid funding for an abortion.
Bernie Sanders should have pointed out Joe Biden's suggestion that he'd consider a Republican running mate, and he should have asked who Joe is trying to pander to today. Sanders should have also mentioned that he was the first to say that he would consider a younger female vice president.
What are the attributes you would look for in a vice president?
I think we would look for somebody who is maybe not of the same gender that I am, and maybe somebody who might be a couple of years younger than me, and somebody who can take the progressive banner as vice president and carry it all over this country to help us with our agenda and help us to rally the American people.
That clip from the Young Turks is from nearly a year ago today, before Biden leapt at the opportunity to pander to women during the most recent debate. Time and time again, it was clear that Joe Biden didn't understand the big picture. But early on in the debate, it became clear that Bernie was not going to aggressively challenge Joe Biden's approach to politics either.
And bottom line here is, in terms of Medicare for all, despite what the vice president is saying, what the experts tell us is that one of the reasons that we are unprepared and have been unprepared is we don't have a system. We got thousands of private insurance plans. That is not a system that is prepared to provide health care to all people. In a good year, without the epidemic, we're losing up to 60,000 people who die every year because they don't get to a doctor on time. And clearly this crisis is only making a bad situation worse.
That has nothing to do when you're in a national crisis. The national crisis says we're responding. It's all free. You don't have to pay for a thing. That has nothing to do with whether or not you have an insurance policy. This is a crisis. We're at war with the virus. We're at war with the virus. It has nothing to do with co-pays or anything.
If Biden can't see how lowering people's financial obligations makes adapting to emergency situations easier, then I don't see how Biden's talking to the same apathetic voters the Dems need in order to win the 2020 general election. Even when he did have a chance to expose Biden, Sanders chose not to go harder.
Why don't you get rid of the super PAC that you have right now, which is running very ugly negative ads about me, by the way. Don't laugh, Joe. That's just the truth. And they got 2 other super PACs running ads against us. Why don't you just say right now, go on television and say, hey, you know what? I think in the past, Joe, if I'm not mistaken, you condemned super PACs. Is that correct?
You get rid of the 9 super PACs you have?
I don't have 9 super. I don't have any
You have
super
9.
PACs.
You want me to list them?
No, yeah, you go ahead and list
Okay,
them.
come on. Give me a break.
No, I won't give you a break on this one, Joe. You condemned super PACs. You got a super PAC is running negative. But here's the point. This is the point. In the richest country in the history of the world, half of our people should not be struggling to put food on the table.
And again, here.
And I want you just to be straight with the American people. I am saying that you have been on the floor of the Senate time and time again talking about the need to cut Social Security, Medicare, and veterans programs. Is that true or is that not true?
No, it's not true.
That is not true?
That is not true. What is true is,
when I argued that we should freeze federal spending, I meant Social Security as well. I meant Medicare and Medicaid. I meant veterans benefits. I meant every single solitary thing in the government. And I not only tried it once, I tried it twice, I tried it a 3rd time, and I tried it a 4th time.
Were you on the floor time and time again, for whatever reason, talking about the need to cut Social Security and Medicare and veterans programs?
no, I did not talk about the need to cut any of those programs.
Senator, we have a deficit. We have Social Security and Medicare looming. The number of people on Social Security and Medicare is now 40 million people. It's going to be 80 million in 15 years. Would you consider looking at those programs, age of eligibility,
Absolutely.
cost of living, put it all on the table?
The answer is absolutely, you have to. Social Security is not the hard one to solve. Medicare, that is the gorilla in the room. And you've got to put all of it on the table.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Those moments were promising, but Sanders missed an opportunity to build a narrative of Joe Biden as a career politician who goes wherever the political winds blow, who doesn't stay true to his word, and who has run for president and failed twice. Now, reporting suggested that Sanders didn't want to hit Biden too hard because he doesn't want to give Trump any more ammunition against the presumptive nominee. And if you're in Sanders' shoes, you don't want the movement you have worked so hard to build get scapegoated for getting Donald Trump elected again. So you're gonna have to tread carefully if you're in Bernie's shoes. But for folks who saw major differences between Sanders' progressive policy agenda and Biden's, this is no doubt a devastating loss. If you're a Sanders supporter, I encourage you to give your all to what remains of the Sanders campaign in whatever way you can. The chances that he becomes the nominee are slim, but not as impossible as mainstream media groupthink suggests. You'll regret not having tried if you don't. You should also remember the tagline of his campaign, "Not me, us." Sanders is a vessel through which policy could be passed and approved as president, but that was always unlikely to happen without the mass movement of a group of people who demanded Sanders' agenda so loudly and forcefully that Washington couldn't continue to ignore it. So for those of you out there searching for hope, direct action and organizing are the next phases of the movement. That's the us and not me, us. Get involved with your local chapter of Democratic Socialists of America. Speak, over the phone perhaps, to your friends and neighbors, not necessarily about the politics at first, but about the causes. Medicare for all, paid sick and family leave, college debt forgiveness, minimum wage increases, rampant greed on Wall Street. Don't forget to talk about how these individual policies affects the larger whole of society and how they're interconnected. I mean, it's been time to do all this, but there's no better time than today.